Hey guys, welcome back. It's Missy, and today's video is something that almost all of us struggle with, and it's trust. Trusting ourselves, trusting others, but the most important one is trusting ourselves. And we can't trust others if we don't trust ourselves. So today we're going to go into why we don't trust ourselves, where it comes from, and the steps to take to start to trust ourselves. The lack of trust for ourselves is something that is taught at a very young age. We don't come out to the world not trusting ourselves or other. Can you imagine a baby not allowing his mother to feed him because he doesn't trust her? Like, no, that doesn't sound right. Lack of trust is something that is instilled in us based on our parents' behavior and based on the way that they treat us in regards to how we should feel about ourselves. So we are all born with something called intuition. Intuition is the ability to understand something without knowing why. It's that ability to see red flags or something feels off, but you can't quite put your finger on it. Some people's intuition is stronger than others because intuition is a skill that is either strengthened or weakened as you grow. Intuition is strengthened based on the things you experience in life. But based on our upbringing, we can be taught to ignore those feelings. So people who grow up in dysfunctional homes, they have to learn how to predict their caregiver's behavior to protect themselves. Like, okay, mom's feeling this way. I know what that means. I need to stay clear and stay in my room. That intuition was strengthened based on how much danger you felt you were in that moment. You had to have the intuition to be able to read the situation to protect yourself. That's also one of the reasons why you observe people so much. Because in your upbringing, you had to read your mom or your dad or your caregiver in order to protect yourself. That is why some people's intuition is stronger than others. Now there's a catch-22. Because in those dysfunctional homes, although your intuition strengthened, you are taught how to doubt yourself. Your feelings are dismissed, you are invalidated, you were taught not to trust yourself, you were told you are wrong, you were told you're stupid. So those words are reaffirmed in your mind. So your intuition may be going off, but your abuser's thoughts or your toxic parent's thoughts are in your mind, going off, reminding you how dumb and how stupid and you're probably wrong and you don't know what you're talking about. So that's why you will ignore those red flags, ignore that intuition, ignore that feeling, because you keep having those thoughts play in your mind and you trust that voice more than you trust yourself because it has been reaffirmed over and over again. Now that doesn't just happen in dysfunctional homes. It can happen in all other homes. Unintentionally, what happens is that we are taught not to trust ourselves through subliminal messages. Like, for instance, your parent will say, "Here, let me help you with that. It looks like you're struggling. Let me help you with that. You don't do it right." Or, "That wasn't a smart thing to do. Why did you do that?" Or maybe your parent will say, "You can't do it like I can do it." Or, "Let me do it. I'll do it faster." All these little things are reaffirming that you can't trust yourself or you can't do this thing and you need outside help. So it starts that seed in your mind of self-doubt, like, oh, I can't do it. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't trust myself. Aside from other things you may hear, like, you don't know what you're talking about. Your opinion is wrong. You always make mistakes. You don't know what you're doing. So when you hear those things from your caregiver, the person you trust, it reaffirms in your mind to doubt yourself and to not trust what you're doing. So the little things we hear as kids starts the seed in our mind. And then as we get older, we may reaffirm those thoughts. They become the voice in our head and we think about them over and over and they become our own voice and we believe it. So we start to enter adulthood and we replay in our minds like, I can't do it. I won't make the right decision. I'm gonna mess up. And that's what we keep focusing on, as well as we will feel that intuition about things and we'll be like, no, like I know I'm too stupid to make a decision. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna ignore that feeling. Like, it's probably not as bad. You become very dismissive of your feelings because that's how you have felt as a child. We think about our past mistakes and we become nervous that we're gonna make those same mistakes again. And it reinforces those thoughts over and over again in our minds. We focus on the failures, or we focus on how stupid we were. We focus on that feeling like we can't trust ourselves. This lack of trust in yourself and these thoughts can be dangerous, because when you can't trust yourself, you think, okay, well, I can't trust myself. Who can I trust? You then will start to trust unhealthy people, like manipulative people, narcissistic people. You may trust people that are similar to your parents, kind of going back to that childhood experience, because you don't trust yourself so much. And you will trust more the people that will tell you not to trust yourself, because that's comfort, that's what you're used to. And you feel more trusting of that than you do of yourself. And it opens the doorway up to people taking advantage of you. And it can lead you in the direction of doing things that you don't want to do or are not healthy for you. And then these people reinforce that negative thought in our mind that we can't trust ourselves, that we're stupid, we don't know what we're talking about. And then we continue to think that we can trust these people because they act like they have our backs, when in reality, it's the opposite. So what are the steps you need to take to learn how to trust yourself again? So the first thing is, you need to get in touch with yourself and your emotions again. The first thing I would say to do is start to journal. Start to do what I call a self-check-in. So at the end of the night, go into your journal and write about how you're feeling, the things that happened that day, and your thoughts throughout the day. This can help you unscramble the things in your mind and get it out from your mind onto paper. And you will recognize a lot more things. You will recognize the thoughts that you're having, the negative thoughts you're having about yourself. You may recognize some patterns that you're having with other people. You may recognize that you are making unhealthy decisions for yourself. And it's the first way to start to get in touch with yourself and your emotions. So that's the first thing. The next thing I would say is to know who you are. So the journaling can help with that, but you really need to know who you are, what you want in your life, who are the people that you do and don't want, what is the treatment you will and won't tolerate. One of the reasons why you don't know who you are is because in the past you were told who you were, or you made sure to be who everyone else wanted you to be to avoid maybe not being liked or avoid dealing, or that is how you coped with your past traumas, to be more of a people pleaser. That fear of disappointing others, that fear of not being accepted. So you may have felt like you constantly change yourself and you don't know entirely who you are. Now is the time to remind yourself of who you are and really get in touch with who you are. Determining what you like and don't like. What are your views? What are your opinions? Really explore that and form a strong sense of self. So that way you feel confident in yourself and you know who you are. And when you know who you are, it helps you with trusting yourself. When you don't know who you are, you can be very easy to manipulate because you don't have a strong sense of self. So people can come in and just make you who they want you to be. And that's not helpful for you. That's really hurtful. You want to be self-aware and confident in who you are, because when you are, you won't welcome those unhealthy people in your life. You won't welcome those unhealthy decisions in your life because you're confident. You're like, no, this is what I want. This is what I don't want. And it can be hard to do that because you may have other people's voices in your head telling you who you are. So the thing is, you want to make sure you block out those voices and you don't listen to that negative voice because it's not you. So listen to who you actually are. You are your positive self. So come through with the positive voice and remind yourself who you are. The positive things about you. What are your strengths? What are your flaws? We all have flaws. In order to gain confidence, we need to accept our flaws. Part of confidence is accepting those flaws and owning them because we're human and we all have flaws. The next thing is trust your intuition. So like I was mentioning earlier, you get this feeling. You may get a feeling in the pit of your stomach. You may get shivers. You may get a feeling in your chest, maybe pressure. You'll get some sort of feeling that something is off. So you want to listen to that intuition. Every time it goes off, every time like you're around someone and you get a bad feeling, don't ignore it. You're correct. Trust that intuition. That is also something that it can strengthen. Get rid of that self-doubt and strengthen that intuition is by listening to it and making decisions based off that instinct, that gut instinct. That's why people say your gut's never wrong. Trust that gut instinct because you know you have the answers. You're smart. You know what's best for you. You have only made the decisions because you listened to that negative voice and you did not listen to that intuition gut. So make sure that you are listening to the intuition gut. Listen to how it feels in your body when you think about certain situations. And something that can be hurtful towards your intuition is fear. Sometimes we will make decisions based on fear. Fear that people won't like us, fear that we'll be in what feels like danger. So you want to put fear to the side and listen to your genuine feeling. How does it actually feel? That will help you to get in touch with your emotions and learn to trust yourself, because the more you strengthen that intuition, the more you will be able to make better decisions for yourself. Normally you will dismiss that feeling like, I don't know what I'm talking about, and you'll continue to ignore those red flags. You'll ignore what your intuition is trying to tell you. So you don't want to dismiss that feeling anymore. You need to acknowledge that feeling. I'm feeling this. I feel something's off, and go with that feeling. Your gut is never wrong. It's there to guide you and let you know, like, hey, something's not right. Listen to me. If you're around someone and they make you feel bad or they make you uncomfortable, you can't quite put your finger on it. They're most likely manipulating you, by the way. Stay away from them. If you feel like, if your friends are asking you to go somewhere and you're getting this feeling like something's not right, listen to that instinct. Don't go. Really start to trust in yourself and that instinct, and it will never steer you wrong. You will notice when you start to listen to it more and more, you will make better decisions for yourself. I have struggled with trust for myself, but one thing that I've always trusted was my intuition. I trust my intuition so much. My sister thinks that I'm a psychic, like I can tell the future, but that's not what it is. It's just I trust my intuition so much that it's strengthened that I am able to read situations and know what I personally feel is good or what's not good. The next thing is to speak kindly to yourself. You don't want to listen to that inner critic. So, like I had mentioned, that negative voice, that is not your voice. So you want to make sure that you do not listen to that voice. You disassociate it, you name it some negative name, and you make sure that you listen to that positive you. Fill yourself with positive things. Remind yourself of your strengths. Tell yourself of all the good little things that you do. Use your reparenting language, like I love you and everything's gonna be okay and you did such a great job. Keep filling your mind with that voice so you strengthen the inner positive you rather than the inner critic. The things we tell ourselves, our beliefs, are everything. That is what sways us to decide who's in our life, the decisions we make for ourselves, the people that are around us, how we feel about ourselves. This is the most important one, probably the hardest one to do. You really need to not feed that negative voice and really speak kindly to yourself, re-nurture yourself. The next thing is stay away from people that undermine you. These are the negative voices that reaffirm not to trust yourself. So you are trying to build trust in yourself. You are trying to grow. You're trying to be better for yourself. But if you have people that are hurting you, it's going to hurt your progress. So you either need to cut them loose or you need to set boundaries. So you maybe need to make sure you're not around them as much. If you notice them affecting your mental health in any sort of way, you make sure to stay away from them. So you need to make sure that you stay away from people that hinder or hurt your progress. So if there's anyone that manipulates you, disrespects you and your boundaries, says mean things to you and hurts you, makes you feel like you can't trust yourself, you need to stay away from those people. Don't let others' opinions affect you so strongly. Everyone's going to have something to say, but you can choose whose opinions you let in. And you want to make sure the opinions you let in are the ones that are going to help you grow, constructive criticism, the ones that care about you, the ones that help you, and the ones that are loving and caring towards you and respect you and your boundaries. Those are the relationships you need to nurture. Invest your time in those relationships rather than the negative ones. And be very aware of those people. The next thing is to spend time with yourself and get comfortable being alone. There's lots of things that you can only do with yourself that you can't do with others. like self-reflect and spend time with yourself, getting to really know yourself. Sometimes we feel like we need people because we are trying to avoid being by ourselves, or we may be avoiding ourselves because we don't want to hear the things we have to say to ourselves. It's a way to fill that void and to feel positive. Like, you may not be able to feel positive being alone. So the thing is that you really want to spend time being alone so you can self-reflect, you can think about yourself, you can think about your wants and needs, you can think about your future, you can think about your feelings. You can do all those things when you're alone. So it's really important you spend at least 15 minutes every day doing something you enjoy, aside from self-reflecting, just doing things that you can genuinely enjoy being by yourself. Because if you can't be happy being alone, then you're gonna have a hard time being with others, because it's a temporary fill. You may be happy in that moment, but once they leave, you're feeling sad again. So you need to learn how to be alone and be comfortable being alone, so that way you don't feel like you're always needing other people to fill the void. And when you spend time with yourself, you become really aware of you and what it is that you want and need. And then you are able to ask people those things, and you're able to form better relationships because you're taking the time on yourself. This is the time where you can take to meditate. Meditation helps with being mindful. It is taking time to not judge your thoughts, but observe them. And it can be a part in your healing process to retrain your brain from the old wiring, your reprogramming. And the last thing is to mean what you say. Sometimes, especially as a people pleaser, you may say things to others so that way you'll try to avoid them being disappointed in you and you want to make them happy, but you can't actually deliver that. So you want to make sure that when you say something, you're saying it with the intent to deliver, or you're saying it because you genuinely mean it. Be stern in your decisions. Be stern when you set boundaries. When you disrespect your boundaries and you don't mean them, that's teaching people to walk all over you. And that is, again, reaffirming not to trust yourself. That is reaffirming that other people have power over you, and that and that what you say means nothing. So don't just say something just to say it and then go back on your word. Think about what you're saying. Think before you speak, and then stick to your word. Be confident what you're saying. So the way to trust yourself is journal, write down your feelings, become in touch with your emotions, become in touch with yourself. Know who you are. Who are you? What are your wants and needs? What are your strengths? What do you like? What do you don't like? Speak kindly to yourself. So make sure that you don't listen to that negative voice and you listen to that positive voice, and you're very positive towards yourself. Trust your intuition. Trust that feeling. Trust that gut feeling, the thing that's telling you when something's off. Stay away from people that undermine you. So stay away from people that make you feel small, people that manipulate you, people that try to reinforce you to not trust yourself. Spend time with yourself. Spend time learning who you are. Spend time self-reflecting. Spend time just thinking and being comfortable being alone, and mean what you say. So don't say something unless you mean it. And when you say it, make sure you go through with it. You are more trusting when you tell people what it is you expect of them versus when you just let whatever happen. What do you guys think? What are some of your tips? Leave it all in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone that you think may need it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye, guys. We're going to talk about a very important video. Today, we're doing an important video. What? Uh-oh, something doesn't feel right. It's the first start